Today we embark on a journey through the intricacies and triumphs of being a young adult in the 21st century. Picture this: a world that is changing faster than the seasons, where every swipe, click, and like shapes our reality and our dreams. It's a digital landscape that's vast and uncharted, and our young adults stand on the precipice, ready to take flight. Yet, with wings untested and the wind ever shifting, the question looms large. How does one soar with purpose and faith in an age of relentless change? In this episode, we're going to peel back the layers of this question and seek out the treasures of wisdom that have been the beacon of generations past. How do we, armed with the rich tapestry of Orthodox Christianity, navigate a world that is at once exhilarating and daunting? How do we cling to the mind of Christ and the Orthodox ethos when the currents of modernity pull us towards uncharted waters? Join me as we explore these queries, not to find easy answers, but to discover the resilient spirit that thrives within each young adult. We'll connect with stories of those who have trodden this path before us, and those who walk alongside us now, each with a tale to tell and a lesson to impart. So, whether you're on your morning commute, taking a quiet moment of reflection, or seeking a beacon in the tumult of your daily life, I invite you to pause, ponder, and perhaps find a piece of yourself in the stories and insights we share today. Let's begin this exploration together, and may our conversation be as a lantern to your feet and a light unto your path. In the quiet before dawn, a young adult contemplates the day ahead. The stillness is a canvas, yet to be marked by the incessant buzz of notifications and the relentless pace of a world that never sleeps. This is the landscape of our youth, a terrain that is both electrifying and enigmatic. What are the unique challenges that young adults face in today's society? Consider the tapestry of the digital age, woven with threads of instant communication and a ceaseless flow of information. The very tools that promise connection can sometimes spin a web of isolation, leaving young souls adrift in the vastness of the virtual sea. The impact of social media is twofold. It is the mirror reflecting our deepest yearnings for belonging, and paradoxically the veil that can obscure our authentic selves. How does this digital existence affect the mental well-being of our youth? In the pursuit of likes and shares, the simple yet profound joys of life, a shared glance, a book's turning page, the unhurried conversation, can be drowned out by the cacophony of an online world that demands constant engagement. Anxiety and ephemeral validation become the silent adversaries of tranquility and self-acceptance. And what of the future? How does the fast pace of change in our world affect the decision-making and life planning of young adults? The map of life that guided previous generations has been redrawn. Career paths are no longer linear, but a labyrinth of pivot points and leaps of faith. The promise of education, once a golden key, now opens doors to corridors that twist and turn with economic uncertainty and shifting job markets. How does one navigate such a labyrinth with the wisdom of the ancients as a lantern in the dark? In this ever-evolving economic landscape, the pressure to not just survive, but to thrive, can weigh heavily on the shoulders of the young. The expectations, some self-imposed, others whispered by the society, whisper of success and stability, yet the ground beneath is quaking with change. How do young adults discern their path, and what role does faith play in anchoring their journey? As we ponder these questions, let us seek not just to understand the landscape, but to illuminate the pathways through it. In the narratives of those who walk this terrain, we find the breadcrumbs of wisdom, the fellowship of shared experience, and the whispers of a faith that has weathered many ages. This is our quest, to learn, to empathize, and to empower the young adults of today to shape the world of tomorrow with courage, compassion, and the living breath of an ancient faith that still speaks to the heart of our human condition. In the next segment, we will thread the needle through these themes, weaving a dialogue that not only questions but seeks to understand, a conversation that is as much about finding answers as it is about appreciating the beauty of the questions themselves. In the tapestry of life, each thread represents a choice, a moment, a fragment of identity. For young adults today, the loom is vast, and the pattern is complex, influenced by a world that spins with dizzying speed. They stand at the crossroads of self-discovery, where every signpost is written in the language of modern culture, vibrant yet sometimes confounding. In what ways are young adults' quests for identity shaped by modern culture? Imagine a mosaic, each piece a pixel of identity, some inherited, some chosen, and some imposed by the society that watches with a critical eye. Media, that great storyteller of our age, casts images of what one should be, often blurring the lines between reality and aspiration. Peers, partners in the journey of growth, offer their own reflections, sometimes clear, sometimes distorted. And the globalized world, with its myriad cultures and philosophies, presents a kaleidoscope of possibilities, both thrilling and overwhelming. How can young adults navigate the tension between traditional values and contemporary societal norms? This is the dance of the ages, a step forward into the embrace of progress, a step back into the comfort of tradition. Faith and heritage stand as lighthouses in the tumultuous sea of change, offering solace and guidance. Yet the call of the present, with its new rhythms and melodies, beckons enticingly. Where does one find balance on the tightrope stretched between the past and the present, the sacred and the secular? The role of faith in this search for identity is like the roots of an ancient tree, unseen yet vital, reaching deep into the soil of tradition and belief. Community, that collective soul of shared values and experiences, offers a place of belonging, a sanctuary where the self can be both unique and unified. And personal conviction, that quiet but unyielding voice within, serves as the compass when the maps of old no longer align with the stars of the new world. How do we then foster an identity that is both authentic and adaptable? How do we honor the whispers of our ancestors while singing in chorus with the voices of today? In the sacred space of this dialogue, we will wrestle with these questions, not in search of a definitive answer, but as pilgrims on a path that is walked with both reverence and curiosity. As we continue this conversation, let us hold space for the stories of those who are crafting their identities in the kiln of modernity, fired by the challenges and shaped by the hands of time and tide. Their stories are not just tales to be told, but lived experiences that resonate with the essence of what it means to be a young adult in the search for identity. In the next chapter of our journey, we will delve into the ethical dilemmas that define and refine our sense of self, and we will discover how, in the crucible of decision, character is both formed and revealed. Imagine standing within the walls of a centuries-old monastery, the air heavy with incense and the echoes of prayers that have ascended like invisible incantations toward the heavens. This is the legacy of the Orthodox ethos, a living stream that flows from the heart of history into the present moment, nourishing all who come to its banks. What does it mean to live by the mind of Christ and the Orthodox ethos in the 21st century? It is to walk in a world teeming with noise and haste, while carrying within the quietude of a cloistered heart. It is to engage with the age of information, while drawing wisdom from the wellspring of contemplation. In this current epoch, where the sacred often seems shadowed by the secular, to live by the mind of Christ is to remember the eternal amidst the ephemeral, to discern the divine dialogue in the midst of worldly discourse. Our spiritual practices are the rudder in the stormy seas of life, the rhythm of prayer, the discipline of fasting, the participation in the holy mysteries. These are not mere rituals, but the very pulses of an Orthodox life, each beat echoing the timeless heart of the Church. How do these religious teachings find their relevance today? They are the compass points for navigating the complex moral landscapes we traverse, the touchstones that remind us of who we are beyond our digital avatars and social personas. How can the wisdom of the past inform the present struggles of young adults? In the teachings of the Church Fathers, we find a repository of insights that speak not just to the issues of bygone days, but to the perennial human condition. Their words, like lanterns hung along the path of history, shed light on our modern struggles with identity, purpose, and belonging. We revere the historical examples of saints not as distant, unattainable paragons, but as companions on the journey, their lives a testament to the triumph of spirit over circumstance. Their stories, whether etched in the hagiographies or whispered through the liturgical year, are not just narratives of the past, but vibrant, living presences that inspire and guide us. In the enduring principles of our faith, love, compassion, humility, and justice, we find the anchor points that steady us. How do these enduring principles manifest in the daily walk of the believer? They become the quiet acts of kindness in a world that often values the grandiose, the silent sacrifices unseen by the many but known to the one. As we endeavor to live out this ethos in a world that constantly evolves, we are called not to retreat from the world, but to transform it, infusing the temporal with the touch of the eternal. In the next segment, we will explore the ethical crossroads where faith and life intersect, where the decisions we make reflect the depth of our commitment to the ethos we cherish. As dawn breaks over the horizon, casting a golden hue across the landscape, it brings with it the light of consciousness to the ethical crossroads where our young adults stand. Here, the silent questions of right and wrong, of choice and consequence, are spoken aloud, not in judgment, but in the quest for understanding. How should young adults approach the ethical complexities of today's world? It is a world where technology has outpaced our moral codes, where the questions of what we can do often eclipse the contemplation of what we should do. Navigating this terrain requires a compass more nuanced than the binary of black and white. Here, the palette includes the shades of humility, discernment, and the courage to embrace the tension of the unknown. In the quiet moments where the heart converses with the soul, our young adults ponder the stewardship of the earth, the sanctity of life, and the myriad human rights that paint the vast canvas of social justice. The ethical dilemmas they face are not just theoretical quandaries, but living realities that knock on the doors of their consciousness, demanding a response. What role do community and the church play in guiding young adults through these ethical dilemmas? Like a chorus that rises in harmony, the community provides a collective wisdom, a shared moral vision that helps to clarify the blurred lines of individual discernment. The church, with its deep roots in tradition and its branches extended towards the heavens, offers a perspective that transcends the immediacy of our choices, framing them within the grander narrative of redemption and the pursuit of theosis, becoming one with God. Ethics, in the Orthodox understanding, is not a checklist of do's and don'ts, but a dance of freedom and responsibility, a journey towards the likeness of the divine. It is in this dance that the young adults find their steps, sometimes faltering, sometimes sure, but always moving towards the promise of a life lived in fullness and truth. In this symphony of choices, each note resonates with the consequences of our free will. How can young adults balance the freedom of this will with the responsibility of their faith? It is in the act of choosing that we are most acutely human, most vividly alive. And in each decision, there is the potential for growth, for the deepening of the self, and for the reflection of the divine image in which we are all made. As we continue our dialogue, let us remember that the ethical paths we walk are not merely about the destination, but about the manner of our walking. It is here, in the crucible of decision, that character is both tested and revealed, and the narrative of our lives is written not in ink, but in the very actions we choose to undertake or refrain from. In the next segment, we will look to the horizon, to the cultivation of resilience and the nurturing of hope as we contemplate the ethical odyssey of our young adults, journeying through a world ripe with challenge and abundant with possibility. As the sun arcs across the sky, casting light on paths both trodden and yet to be explored, it becomes a metaphor for the journey of resilience and growth that each young adult embarks upon. The world, with its incessant demands and challenges, often feels like a forge in which the metal of our youth is tested. What are effective ways for young adults to build resilience in the face of adversity? The answer, perhaps, is as ancient as it is timely. It lies in the cultivation of virtues. Patience, perseverance, and fortitude are not merely quaint relics of a bygone era, but are the very sinews that strengthen the soul. It is through enduring the trials and tribulations of life, much like the saints and martyrs of old, that one's character is tempered. The practice of reflection, too, serves as a crucible for resilience. In the quietude of self-examination, young adults can discover the wellsprings of inner strength that lie beneath the tumult of external circumstances. Through prayer, meditation, and the sacraments, they are reminded that they are not alone on this journey. The presence of the divine companion is a balm to the weary heart and a guide through the thicket of life's complexities. How can young adults maintain hope and a positive outlook amidst societal pressures? In the narratives of those who have walked through the shadowed valleys and emerged into the light, we find a tapestry of hope. These stories, both ancient and contemporary, are beacons that illuminate the path ahead. The teachings of the Church Fathers, the lives of the saints, and the enduring wisdom of Scripture offer a vision of hope that is both transcendent and imminently accessible. In the fellowship of the community, in the shared breaking of bread and the common voice lifted in prayer, young adults find an anchor amidst the storm. They are reminded that their journey is a shared one, that their struggles and triumphs alike are witnessed by a cloud of witnesses, both seen and unseen. As we close this chapter of our conversation, let us not forget that the path of resilience is not a solitary one. It is a path walked in the company of all who seek to grow in the likeness of Christ, supported by the timeless teachings of the Church, and enlivened by the Spirit that moves within and among us. In our next gathering, we will turn our gaze to the broader horizon, contemplating the future that awaits and the role that each young adult has in shaping it, not only for themselves, but for the world that so urgently needs their passion, their faith, and their unique contributions to the tapestry of human history. As the shadows lengthen and the day draws to a close, we reflect on the journey we have embarked upon together. We have traversed the landscape of modernity, sought identity amidst the clamor of the world, grappled with living an ethos that is as old as the mountains, and faced the ethical dilemmas that carve the contours of our character. In the quietude of our introspection, we've discovered that the challenges young adults face today are but echoes of the ancient human quest for meaning, belonging, and purpose. The digital age, with all its novelties, cannot quench the thirst for the sacred, nor silence the yearning for a life woven with the threads of enduring truth. We've pondered the balance of embracing progress while honoring tradition, of cultivating a personal voice within the harmonious chorus of community, and of making choices that reflect the luminosity of our faith. These are not tasks for the faint of heart, but they are the very essence of the adventure that is life. Let this be our call to action, to engage with our communities, to dive deep into the wellspring of our faith, and to offer our hands and hearts to the service of one another. For it is in giving that we receive, in teaching that we learn, and in loving that we are truly alive. As we part ways, let us carry with us the insights and stories shared. Let them be the seeds that grow into a forest of wisdom in our hearts. And let us remember that this conversation does not end here. It is but the prelude to the symphony of our lives. In our next episode, we will turn our gaze upwards to explore the stars that have guided travelers of old, the constellations that tell of heroes and myths, and how they can illuminate our path forward. What can the night sky teach us about navigation, about aspiration, about our place in the universe? But for now, I leave you with this thought to ponder. In a world that often prizes the grand and the immediate, how might we find profound beauty in the simple and the slow, the quiet acts of kindness that stitch the fabric of community, and the gentle whispers of faith that speak of love and eternity? Thank you for joining me on this journey. May the peace that passes all understanding be with you until we meet again.